Alright guys, what is up? You are back for another video with Datazero. This video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to let you guys know right off the bat, this is very speculative. I don't normally do speculative videos. I normally base everything on the charts and facts that we have right in front of us. But I'm going to show you guys some AMC news, GameStop news, and explain why we could see a pop to the upside on a certain date and give you guys some potential targets if we did see a short squeeze or gamma ramp or even gamma squeeze. So we're going to break everything down in this video and show you guys what's going on right now. So the first things that we have to talk about, if you haven't heard, there is some major news coming out right now here for AMC stock. Okay, now this is why this is very speculative, because even the news right now is speculation, but AMC is seeing upside movement right now. As you guys can see, AMC's up at time of recording 4.40%, looking like it's going to push up here a little bit in the close. GameStop also moving up as well, looking like it potentially push up in the close. Very, very bullish. If AMC is able to close this day above $3, we're recording this on Friday, if AMC is able to close this day above $3, that is going to be very, very good for next week. Make sure you guys check out the weekly outlook and prediction, as I'm going to be breaking it down. And we did get this week right, most likely, as we're going to close a green week for AMC, GME, and SPY. And we're going to be breaking that down on the weekly outlook and prediction. Make sure you guys check that out. But if you guys haven't heard, all right, there's a potentiality that AMC has some type of deal worked in. They do a release alongside Taylor Swift's album drop, Life of a Showgirl. Now, we already know how fanatical Taylor Swift's fan base is. They're absolutely crazy. They buy everything and really show out for Taylor Swift. Last time AMC did stuff with Taylor Swift, it absolutely did numbers, all right? There is speculation circulating around right now that there's going to be an exclusive AMC release around the same time that she drops her album, October 3rd. So sources say the project will drop on the same day as the album, October 3rd. There's speculation that AMC theaters could be involved with the release. A new report claims that Taylor Swift is prepping a return to theaters tied to Life of a Showgirl, her new album coming out. And we're seeing this reported on multiple outlets that really cover like pop stuff and Hollywood and stuff like that. Again, here's some more information about that if you guys want to pause that and read that. But basically what I broke down is what we talked about. Now, this is happening on October 3rd. I want to show you guys October 3rd keeps coming up. This date keeps coming up. This is why this is very speculative, but October 3rd is an options expiration date, all right? Now, right now, as the time of recording, I'm not seeing anything in the options chain that would be unusual to me as far as October 3rd, all right? We're not seeing anything unusual for AMC or GME. Now, both of the stocks are looking bullish, and we potentially could rally into that date, and if we do, that would be amazing. But again, for October 3rd, I'm not seeing anything crazy here as far as the option chain is concerned. But it is an expiration date and on a Friday, so that's very, very interesting. Now, another thing, which if you guys watched my video yesterday, you would get a brief breakdown of as well, happening on October 3rd. This is when, theoretically, shorts need to have shares or close their positions on GME stock. Now, I explained to you guys that most of the smaller hedge funds might close their positions, but most of the larger hedge funds are going to be buying shares out of the market. And this is why we see GameStop getting constant buy pressure, and why every time it reaches lows, it gets pushed back up. We're seeing a lot of buy orders come in. You guys can see that here on the volume. I showed you guys in yesterday's video as well, several buy orders coming in. So this is most likely why we're seeing so much buying pressure here for GME and why it continues to rise. AMC also seeing a pop off of the Taylor Swift speculation, and if those numbers go in to the next earnings or whatever earnings, that it's going to blow it out, because we already know Taylor Swift fans are fanatical. Now, What's happening with GME, I'll break it down for you guys. But shorts have an obligation because of these warrants. And I broke it down in yesterday's video as well. You guys can check that out if you want more details. But basically, there is a reason why warrants could cause a short squeeze, especially in heavily shorted stocks. 16% short interest is what we're sitting at for GameStop, a little bit over that. So GameStop is a heavily shorted stock. Anything over 10% is a heavily shorted stock, 8 to 10%. Obligations to short sellers. When a company issues a warrant dividend, short sellers who have borrowed the shares must deliver the warrants to the lender. So any short sellers that have shares lent out, they have to deliver warrants to those people that the shares are lent out to. So they either have to buy shares out of the open market, okay, which is going to cause more buying pressure, and they have to have these shares by October 3rd, or they have to close their short position, okay? Now, also, it can cause more buying pressure because this dynamic can potentially cause a double squeeze, putting pressure on both the stocks and the warrant. We are also seeing this effect of the warrants increase buying pressure. This forced buying creates a surge in demand, driving up the stock price, which could also help squeeze the shorts out. Now, again, this is very, very speculative, but it looks like potentially going into October 3rd and beyond, we could see something spectacular here for AMC and GME. Now, this is speculation, guys. Now, if we did pop to the upside, all right, first of all, GME would have to break above this $32 to $35 zone. This is very important because after this, once the warrants are handed out on October 7th, they could be exercised if the stock price is above the $32 level where the warrants give you shares if you exercise them. So people obviously wouldn't want to exercise $32 warrants underneath that, but also AKA them putting it at $32 means they believe by October 30th, 2026, GME will be well and beyond that $32 level, which I believe it's about to actually go up to the $32 level. And this time, instead of getting rejected, I think it's going to hold that level. And with this warrant mechanic, be able to blast off, ladies and gentlemen. That's why they have all of these sell walls here waiting for GME to reach that level, and that's why they are desperately trying to keep us down, but they are in between a rock and a hard place because, again, they have to have those shares to get those warrants. Why? Because you do not get warrants if your shares are lent out. So they have to have shares by October 3rd. Again, if your shares are lent out, you do not get warrants. But shorts are in a rock and a hard place, between a rock and a hard place, because they have an obligation to deliver the warrants to the people they have the shares lent out to. And they can't do that if their shares are lent out. That's why they either have to close their position or buy the underlying stock, ladies and gentlemen. So that is why on potentially October 3rd and beyond, we could have a trigger for a potential short squeeze. Again, this is very, very speculative, but it is something that we haven't seen in a long time. It's a very, very unique setup. Both of the meme stocks are also doing better with earnings as well, destroying the short thesis. Last earnings for AMC were good. Last earnings for GME were good. So this is destroying the short thesis as well. So we're in a good position fundamentally and technically to finally drive these shorts out of the play. Again, I don't want to get people too excited, too hopeful, but this is what we're looking at, and that's why I said right off the bat, this is a little bit of tinfoil, a little bit of speculation, but it is based off of true facts that we have here right in front of us right now. It's just that normally compared to my other content, it's not as grounded as normal, so that's why I gave you guys that warning. Now, potential prices we could see here if we did blast off. So AMC has a bunch of gap fills on the weekly and daily time frame, and some potential prices that we could see here for AMC if it were to blast off. And I'll give you guys just some, these are just logical prices. It could go much higher, but these are just logical, realistic prices if AMC were to blast off. So you have this 1187 to 1260. Then you have a gap fill here at 2445, but you have this big gap fill here on the weekly and daily time frame at 37 to 43. Okay. And then also here on GME, there is still a gap fill here at $72 to $75. Also, if you go ahead and put on, for example, just put on a moving average on like the weekly time frames and daily time frames, you guys can get some possible price targets. and the 200 moving average for AMC on the weekly time frame is all the way up at 35.24. Again, these are just basic price targets. Obviously, if it was a squeeze or something like that, it could go much higher. And if that was happening, I would be live and breaking it all down, looking at the Bollinger Bands, looking at technicals on the smaller time frame, the larger time frame, letting you guys know what I think is going to happen. Again, not financial advice, but these are just some logical price targets based off of facts grounded in reality. Again, we have these gap fills on the chart, gaps get filled, and then the 200 moving average normally gets retested. Weekly time frame, we have the 200 moving average sitting at 34.24 here for AMC. So this is what we're looking at, guys. Potential price targets, also all-time highs. For GameStop, we have this squeeze here that happened in 2024, which is at about $64, which I think could easily be hit. And then we have 120.75 here for GME, all-time highs. And then all-time highs for AMC, we have this squeeze that happened earlier sitting at 110, and then this squeeze here sitting at $393.63. Those are the highest price targets if they were to return to all-time highs or higher, which most likely wouldn't happen unless we get a mega squeeze driving all of the shorts out because of dilution and reverse splits. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the video. If you found it informative, please drop a like, press subscribe, do all of that stuff. Leave a comment down below, and that helps support for absolutely free. If you want to support in a different way, you can check out the merch store, check out my live streams and Dopper Super Chat. But if you're watching to the end of this video, I truly appreciate it because that helps me out. And as always, y'all, make sure you have fun, stay safe, make money. Peace out.